Alright, so now we're ready to do the steam distillation. And what we're going to do, you can see my nice dark brown solution here. Ideally this would be a clear solution, I just happen to not have a good distillation in this case. What we're going to do, I just took my reflux column, turned it on its side, attached the receiving adapter with a receiving flask, put my distillation head on, and now I'm going to attach my flask. Sorry, these are a little stiff when they're all the way down. And now we're going to start the distillation here for 30 minutes or until the still head reaches 95, whichever one comes last. So if it hits 95, we're still going to keep distilling until 30 minutes. Now, if after 30 minutes we don't hit the 95, that's fine, we'll keep going for an additional 15 minutes. Typically though, when you get this dark brown color in here, you run the risk of getting these black flakes. They're usually a sign that something has basically built up a critical mass of bromine. It's starting to drive a lot of polymerization reactions now. So if I do begin to see that, I'll pull it off early. Otherwise, I'll just keep going and going. But what I'm trying to get at here is that when you do get this dark color, sometimes it's hard to get it to 95. So just be aware that can be a case. So here we are already like just a few minutes into the distillation, and what you can see is I'm starting to get some stuff coming off the other side. So again, we'll let this run. Right now the still head's running about 38, 40. It's still pretty early on, but again, hopefully we'll get some pretty good yield off of this. So here I'm about 10-15 minutes into the distillation, and it's a little hard to see just because of how far back this is. It's hard to get the camera in closer, but it's kind of getting viscous and gooey here, and this is usually a sign that you've acquired enough critical bromine now that there's a lot of slide polymerization reactions going on. So I'm going to let this keep going, but if you do start seeing it foam up and you start seeing black spots splatter up, it's a good time just to cut off the distillation and work with what you have. You can kind of see here off to the side, I've actually already gotten quite a healthy amount off of this distillation, but we'd like to run this for as long as possible just to make sure we get as much product as we can possibly isolate. Alright, so you can see here I'm starting to get some really bad foaming. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop this. It hasn't quite been 30 minutes, but I don't want this to really form a hard cake crust on the inside of my distillation flask. So we're just going to turn that off. And fortunately we got a fair amount of product here on the right side. So yeah, this looks like we're going to have enough to work with. Next part is going to be what we're going to call the fun part. We're just kind of being silly about that. It's actually pretty obnoxious because we're going to have to play a game of keep track of which is the organic phase and which is the aqueous phase.